Hi guys, welcome to My Steps to Sobriety, the show on YouTube and as a podcast with me, your host, Stefan Neff. And today I am delighted to talk to a colleague from the other side of the world. I have had the pleasure to talk to quite a few European guests, but my heart is quite close to the country where this lady is coming from, Switzerland, just to the south of Germany. And I had some fantastic times in Switzerland. And indeed, Maja Iten, my guest, is from Luzern. A beautiful, beautiful place. So once COVID is finished, guys, you need to go there and have a beautiful look around. Luzern is gorgeous. And whilst you're there, you might as well go up the River Rhine and have a bit of a nosy around. I'm sure you're going to have a fantastic time. But that needs to wait a little bit until COVID is finally calming down a bit. And in the interim, we might as well explore how we can get ourselves in a much, much better place, how we can deal with the challenges that life throws us, and who better to talk about these challenges than my guest today. Maja, welcome to us.
Thank you very much, Stefan. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here for your listeners in a very important time of their lives and maybe support them a little bit in their path. And because, you know that this is a topic that is very close to my heart. And thank you for allowing me to talk about that.
No, absolutely. And the topic today is indeed depression and low mood. And Maja has been a teacher for most of her life, which is just amazing. You have got such a wonderful history, and we're gonna explore that. So don't think for a moment you can get away with my opening question. When you were 6 years old, what did you want to be when you grow up, when you were a child?
That's a mean question, Stefan.
It's a few months ago, I know. But when you were younger, you didn't think that you would help other people and change their lives.
No way. I thought what my mother thought I wanted to become, which was a preschool teacher. That was her dream, not my dream. But I was so influenced that everybody who asked me what I would like to become, I always said a preschool teacher.
Oh.
And that was probably already the beginning of my story of depression because it got me on the wrong path. I could not be the person I really am or was at that time. And I could not explore my own plans for many, many, many years. So probably not the answer you were hoping for.
No.
That's my life.
There is no right and wrong answer here. It is more shining a light on why we become the people we become and why we try to cope the way we do cope, often in destructive ways at the start of our life, because there is a good reason for something, and sometimes many reasons. And sometimes we think when it comes to depression or other mental health problems, you think, oh, no, it's all in the genes. It's all because my mummy was depressed and my grandmummy was depressed, therefore I must be depressed. Whilst there are genetic predispositions within all means, yes, but we will explore far more the other factors that can lead to depression. And you have highlighted one. It's basically the constant trauma of pleasing others, trying to be there for others to the detriment of your own well-being, emotional, spiritual, and often physical. So you went through school and you became a preschool teacher?
Yeah.
Was that?
I obeyed.
And when you were younger, I mean, after all, when we're all young and we throw our whole heart often into a profession, so whilst you might have initially not liked it, did it grow on you? Did it become something that after a while you did enjoy? Or was it always with a heavy heart that you went to work?
No, I always felt at the wrong place. I mean, it's a wonderful job to work with children, but I always felt in the wrong spot. I knew this is not me. This
Hmm.
is not where I can get happy. And after 2 years, I quit my career and very quickly slided, elegantly slided without my doing really into the adult teaching field. And that was, I soon realized this is really where I'm happy and where I'm, you know, I just never get tired working with people. It's magic. It's just, oh, I love it. I could do it all day long.
Which is beautiful, and that
How do you
explains you.
say it? Until the cows come home.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. No, but that's
Yes.
typically around 3 o'clock here in New Zealand in the afternoon. So maybe, nah, we can do that longer. Come on. uh, I think the reality, though, is you became an adult teacher, but and you stated that your heart was now far more fulfilled. Well, if that was the whole story, then our talk would finish now, wouldn't it?
Right.
And she's all
Yes.
happy and she rode into the sunset and
Happily
we are
ever
all, that's
after.
right, birds are chirping in the tree. It wasn't really like that, was it?
No.
So what happened?
No.
What happened? What
I had to
changed?
learn. I had to go through the school of hard knocks, you would call it, I believe.
Yep.
So what happened? Well, where shall I begin?
Where it started sliding, because that's obviously the insidious place where you still are all happy, and then little things happen, isn't it? From now and then big things happen, but in most people it's sort of, oh well, I'll try that in my life, and then somehow it doesn't turn out so well. So I mean, you were in the middle of the adult teaching, you felt good. What happened then?
Well, it started. It started at the age of 22, and but a topic that I only teach for about 3 years, and then a tragedy happened in my life, and I almost died, and that was a big changing moment in my life. And after that, I can't tell you why, but there was the constant thought in my heart and my head, who am I? I was praying, I was meditating, I was screaming, who am I? I wanted to know who I was or who I am, and I just did not get any answer. And it turned out that I had to find out myself who who I am or who I was, and that was a long process of many years. And Stefan, there was not a moment in my life that uh, well, you know that there was a moment in my life that changed really much. But even after that moment, the process went on and on and on. And only in the retrospect, is that correct? Retrospect, I realized, I began to realize why my life was going the path it has been going, and who I am and what I'm good at. And when you grow up as a child who is being told what you have to like, what you're supposed to do as a profession, and that you're not good and that you're not good enough and that you can't do this and that, then you have self-doubt. I don't know, for almost eternity. This is a topic that constantly is part of your life, that you constantly doubt yourself. They constantly doubt that you're good enough, that you're doing a good job. I have binders filled with with letters from customers who were happy with my services, but still I was never really feeling that I was good enough. And I believe that this is one topic for many, many people who are suffering from depression.
Is it not the self-worth is not existent? There's constantly this negative voice or voices constantly telling you what you have done wrong. And
Yeah, that's
yeah,
easy to.
oh please. And we're all human beings. We make mistakes. Let's not be
Yeah.
stupid here. And some of us are really good in that, especially under the influence of alcohol or other substances. We can make real fools out of ourselves.
True.
But and that's fair. That's fair call. And yes, maybe that is part of your recovery process, that you have to deal with that, and it's called making amends. So there are two steps related to that. So that's part and parcel. So there's a healthy way of looking at you stuffing up in your life, and then there is this constant nagging. Oh, and
Mhm.
this, and in depression that becomes an Olympic sport. That voice up there, oh, it is good, it is good.
Yeah.
You wake up, I from now and then wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, just like that. I wake up and I remember something that happened 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
of no relevance whatsoever, and it was a stupid thing I did.
Mhm.
I didn't hurt anyone. It is not something that I need to make amends and say, oh my God, I go to the police because I've done X. No, it was a stupid way I behaved. Yet
Yeah.
I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and my mind goes, and it is crazy. And that,
Yeah.
welcome to depression. Welcome
Yeah.
to this kind of negative turmoil in your head. So
Mhm.
those of you who haven't been there, that's one tiny aspect of depression, that to put it actually into perspective. For those of you who have been there, well, boys, girls, you recognize it. It's like an old friend.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, exactly, exactly right. And it is a club, and it's a huge alumni. You have got a what, 1 in 3 chance in your life to become depressed? So to suffer from
I don't know.
depression? Yeah, it
I
is.
have
It is
no
ballpark.
idea.
And that is
Okay.
higher if you have got chronic pain. Then the incidence is about 1 in 2. And there's a huge lifetime chance that you will end up in the dumps. So it is so important, therefore, that we talk about depression and that we talk about these kind of things. And because it will
Yeah.
hit you. It's pretty certain at one stage in your life it will hit you. Crikey, crikey. So, I mean, we talked about these silly voices and the lack of self-worth. How
Mhm.
else did it manifest itself with you? How else did you
Me.
feel? Mm.
Yeah, that constant nagging and that constant thinking I'm not good enough. Of course, that was really an evergreen topic. Then I've had some phases with severe lack of sleep, and that very quickly leads into depression. Um, and then, oh gosh, yes, it's a rather newer topic, and I don't know how many of your listeners this may affect, but it affected me hardly. And here in Switzerland, you may not believe it, more than 30% of the population are electrosensitive. And my body can't deal with cell phone antennas. That's why I'm up in the mountains as high as ever possible. I wish I could show you the mountains. Uh, I I just my body is feeling very hardly. It's very difficult for my body to deal with, because then I don't sleep well, and I have heart palpitations, etc., etc. And that was one for me. And of course, well, a variety, self-pity, that's a classic. Um, these were the major topics for me personally. Of course, there are many, many more
How was your
causes.
How was your appetite? Or your eating habits, shall I more say?
Well, that's a good question. Actually, when I'm not feeling well, or in times when I was depressed, I didn't eat. I couldn't eat much. And the cruel thing was that I was overweight nevertheless. That's even more depressing.
And again, your self-worth goes down the
Oh,
drain.
yeah,
And how bizarre is that,
exactly.
isn't it? But yeah, not eating or eating too much is very much one of the symptoms of depression. And it is bizarre because there is so much stress going on at times in certain forms of depression in your body. The hormones are all over the place, and that can
Mm,
make it really, really difficult for you to lose weight. In other cases, the depression can be so severe that literally patients do not drink, patients do not eat. And these are the extreme forms where indeed you
mm,
need to be admitted to a hospital
yeah.
and need to be nourished and need to be rehydrated. And that is then most definitely where medications or sometimes electrical therapy might be needed, because you are you are basically you're very rapidly killing yourself due to the severity of the depression. So these are the extreme versions that are out there.
Mhm,
And I think as a doctor, I want to point out that very much a GP ought to be involved. Your family physician, your doctor should be involved, and you should touch base with them, because sometimes there are very good reasons that you are low in mood. It might have to do with your thyroid, the thyroid gland here.
mhm,
If that
yeah.
doesn't work so well, then that can cause real good going symptoms of depression. So if you only treat the symptoms, well, you're not treating the underlying cause. And if you
Oh, thank
replace
you.
replace the thyroid, and suddenly, wow, lights go on, and wow, there's someone at home. And it's such little things that need to be ruled out. So therefore, it's always, when we come to depression or dealing with someone who doesn't feel right, I think it's a really, really good thing to open up about that. Don't just take it for granted, but actually make an appointment with your doctor and say, look, I'm not feeling right. Is there a good reason that we can find out? And for all you know, there might be. So do that, guys. Don't take things for granted. Use
Mhm.
that person, your wingman, who is often overlooked, and that is your doctor, your house doctor, family doctor, however you call it in your area of the world. So, but with you, you
I didn't
felt,
go that path.
yeah, that's right, that's right.
Mm.
So how was your path? Because it was quite rocky, wasn't it? It was a bit
Oh
up.
gosh, yes, 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 yes.
So tell us
Oh,
a bit about that. What were the things that you tried?
well, when I was young, when I was 20, I tried to commit suicide by taking sleeping pills. But then it turned out that they were not strong enough. So
And
thank
some beautiful.
goodness,
Hmm.
thank goodness. And I was pissed off a little bit, to be honest, because I woke up at in the same miserable life like before. But now I'm very, very glad, because I know too much by now to be a proponent of killing oneself. But at that time, I was simply too young to understand. Then later, in my late 20s, after divorce, I had another depression, quite severe. And then I realized what it was. And I had a coach at that time, and she told me that there are two different ways of dealing with depression. You can either go the um, gosh, can I say the homeopathic path or what's the opposite in English?
Or the Western medicine, the
The
medical path.
allopathic, allopathic
Oh,
path.
big
That
words,
was the
big words,
word
big
I was
words.
searching for. And she didn't mean, well, you can take substances, of course, allopathic or homeopathic, but she was more talking about how to lead your life. You can also lead a homeopathic life just by choosing a few things. For example, choosing some music. Most people tell you when you're depressed, go out and be happy and do well, enjoy life. Well, how? How when you really hit rock bottom? How on earth am I supposed to go out and enjoy life? I don't want to go out and enjoy life. I feel miserable. So she said, well, you can listen to sad music, which is the exact opposite of what most people would tell you. So I did that. I listened to Mahler, I believe Gustav Mahler,
Mm-hmm.
and it, it wouldn't take long. At the beginning, I was feeling like bathing in a hot tub of water, and I was feeling so good with that sad music and low music, and suddenly I thought, well, okay, I've had it. now it's enough sad music, and that kind of got me out of that depression. It was suddenly I suddenly didn't need it anymore. Of course, I took myself time. I relaxed, and I learned it during that time and that was probably one of the most important lessons for me regarding depression. Most of the time, depression happens when it's time for a bigger change. And that was for me before I changed my career. And it's just life is telling you it's time for a new direction. You're not living your best life. You can live. That's why you're depressed. Or it may also mean it's time to letting go of something old that should no longer have room in your life. And it's time to embrace something new. And when you hold on to the old and you don't want to let it go, then that's a dangerous moment to get into a depression, even if just a light one. But I have learned in the meantime that depression almost always calls for a change or a new direction or to letting go of something that should not be part of your life. And
Mm-hmm.
I listened to that. I meditated. I relaxed. I just let go and allowed kind of my inner guidance.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't call it that way back then because most of the things I did kind of intuitive without really knowing what I was doing, but it helped. And I soon found a new Ausbildung. What's Ausbildung in English?
Profession, occupation, a new way, a new
I went back
direction.
to
Yeah.
I went back to college and and then I really changed my career and that was a big change. That really changed a lot because I had to let go of that miserable childhood full of violence and drama and trauma. And I just had to let go of it and give life a chance, a real chance. And boy, my life went into a direction I could never have dreamed of. Not as a 6-year-old, not as a 20-year-old, not even not as a 25-year-old. You know, when you give life a chance, it can really take you into direction you would never have believed that you would do what you're doing now.
So true. So true. And I think you said some really important words there. I liked it that you gave yourself the time to be sad. You actually didn't beat yourself up. You actually put the sad music on and you allowed yourself in the moment to say, look, right now, I need a pity party. I need to be sad and give me sad music. Okay. And I just actually spent some time there. And this is something that occurs to me at times when I have burned the candle on far too many ends, when I have been far too busy, and suddenly I walk into a wall, and the only thing and the best thing I can do is literally go to bed, come home from work, or even if it is a Saturday morning, I don't give a damn. I recognize it for what it is. It is a bit of a dark moment, and I need to be there. And give me a few hours and let me be there and let me experience it. And let me be a grumpy bastard and just don't touch me and then I'm actually right. And it's just it's okay to have a pity party. Just don't put the tent up and stay there, but actually experience it for what it is. Recognize it as a sign that you have done stupid things, or even it might have not even been your fault. You might have not contributed to it, but life has thrown you things left, right, and center, challenges that you just can't do anything about, but to try to survive. And it's okay to have moments to be down, to be sad, to ask to be left alone. There is nothing wrong with that. And this permission, I didn't give myself this permission for a very long time. I didn't allow myself my true feelings. And I think that is only something I've learned in the last 5 years, probably.
You have to function.
Yeah.
When you have family and children, you have to function.
Absolutely. And I think that's really, really important. If there is a true emergency, then there is no room for your feelings. You need to get out of the house because the house is on fire. Well, I'm worried. No, these kind of terror feelings, etc., they are normal, but now they need to go because you need to get on with your life. It's not those kind of things that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ongoing stress over days, weeks, months, especially now with COVID, with financial insecurity, with fear of death for us, with fear of death of our elderly loved ones. There is so many reasons why we might feel under a lot of stress, a lot of trauma coming at us, regardless if we like it or not. And I think it is important that you learn how to cope with these stresses, more importantly, with the feelings and emotions that stress causes inside you. And we're going to be talking far more about that in a wee while. So it's so important, if you're down and out, then just acknowledge it and say, thank you very much for that message. Okay, I understand. I need to hold horses here for a moment. I just can't keep going. Otherwise, I really, truly burn out. So no, that's so brilliant what you said there.
What you resist persists. That's something I've learned from the English language. What you resist persists. And if you resist the depression, it persists, period.
That's actually a very good saying. I like that.
I like it very much. I learned a lot just simply through that saying. We didn't know that saying in Switzerland.
So you left yourself, or you gave yourself permission to be sad. You put Mala on, and then suddenly that feeling on that evening was going away, and you had a bit of a breakthrough there. And then life continued. And there would have been other downs and outs in the next weeks, months, years. What other lessons did you learn? Or on the flip side, did you play around with alcohol? Did alcohol ever play a role in your life as you were going through these periods of quite a lot of stress?
Well, not really. I know those situations, and I told you about
Mm,
a recent situation when my house burned down, and when I thought, gosh, now I wish I
mm,
had something to drink just to numb my mind, because it was so the situation was so dramatic that
mm.
I just wanted to pull the blanket over the head, take
Yeah,
a bottle of wine, and go to bed. But that doesn't work with me,
yeah,
because after 2 glasses of wine, my body says no way, no more. That's all I can take. So I'm lucky in that regard.
yeah.
But I know that feeling and that
Mm,
notion.
yeah. What do you think is protecting you? It would be so easy for you to hit the bottle. What
It would have been
made,
very easy.
yeah. So why
I don't
why
know.
are you not? What is the magic power that holds you back? Because if we alcoholics could figure that out, thank you very much, we would have it.
Mm. There may be several components. One, probably the body, the liver. That surgery I had when I almost died,
Mm,
um, my liver was damaged because of blood infusion
mhm,
that infected me with hepatitis B.
mm.
So one part is the liver, another part is I hate losing control, except in one situation. but but not in life. I have been a single mom almost all of my daughter's life, and I love far too much being a coach and a teacher, and I need to function, and I want to function. I
Beautiful.
I don't like losing control. I just
So
don't like it. I'm a control freak. Probably that saved me.
okay, all the teachers out there, forgive me for what I'm saying right now, but that is the hallmark of a teacher. Okay, when it is one of these professions that I hate to anesthetize, because you guys are resisting to the last second. No, I will stay awake. I win all the time, but you need to be in control, don't you? And that's your life. You're running either
That's me.
after little wee ones, and the big ones are often not much better. So so that's the
I
teacher.
admit that's me.
But then again, as a teacher, you want to be in control. But when the dark clouds of your depression come, you're not really in control, are you?
Yes.
How did that feel?
Yeah.
How was there a conflict in your mind? And what did you do about it?
Well, what can I say? I tend to, I have to admit, I tend to self pity, and then I can go with self pity, or could. Thank goodness it is most thing of the past. I could go a long time with self pity,
Mm,
and I could bathing in self pity, because I had all the reason. I had
mm.
such a bad childhood, and but then I learned that I can't play my childhood all the time, so that's not going to work.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. I like that.
You get bored after a while when you play it.
Ooh, ouch. I like it. But there, resentment is such a huge trigger for depression.
It is.
Please.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you have not had the chance to work with someone who can show you that, it is really, really hard to come to that conclusion. I couldn't. I had so much anger and resentment. Oh, I had a short fuse. I was angry all the time because look what they did to me. Because they were so mean. Because of that, I drink a whole bottle of vodka now. See what you did to me. You made me drink. Yeah. When you actually spell it out like that, it doesn't ring true, does it? But that's how
No,
you
it
think.
doesn't.
It's their fault.
Yeah,
It's your fault.
yeah,
You made
yeah.
me
It's
feel
your
like that.
fault when I die.
Yeah, that's again exactly,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Oh dear, oh dear, no. And
Mm,
this is a stinking thinking that really you need to learn to address. So if you recognize yourself out there and you suddenly it rings a bell with you, it's time to meet someone. It's time to talk to someone, a life coach, a psychologist, someone with whom you can explore that. If you are still in the throes of using too much alcohol, maybe consider an outpatient 12-step program, a
mm,
rehabilitation program of sorts, or indeed an inpatient rehab program, because that's what I learned there. My resentment, my anger, wow, that was decent. And that was one of the first things that people addressed. My counselor, my case manager, very quickly asked me to write down a letter to a particular institution that I felt was responsible for all the badness in my life. And I wrote this letter in all detail and then handed it in and was very proud. And now let's go through it. Let's bathe in it. Let's go through it. Yeah. And she looked at the letter quickly. Oh, nice. Folded it up, put it to the side, and
very good.
said, "Let's talk about you." And I said, "No, no, no. Let's talk about the letter. Look, look. I wrote that all down.
Oh,
No, no. Let's talk about you."
oh.
And I didn't know what she wanted us on about. And that was the story. That was the start of my journey when I began to realize how much resentment and anger and self-pity was driving my life. It had
Mhm.
consumed me. It was like a cancer that had grown in my
Yeah,
brain and in my heart
yeah.
and in my gut, and it had taken over. And
Mm.
it took some pretty radical surgery on my head to get that actually right. Uh, but yeah, the resentment. If you meet nowadays, if you were to meet someone like me 7 years, 8 years ago, who is burning with anger and is clearly depressed, and the moment you trigger him, it's like this awakening of a demon in you, and it's just, what would you do? How would you approach someone like me who is clearly in need of help but doesn't see it, has no idea?
Well, first you have to go with what is. You can't take a person from A to C in one day. So it takes time. You can't tell a person, hey, it's all self-pity. So that but that was what my daughter did with me. Thank goodness I had a daughter who can be quite clear and frank. And she said, stop the self-pity or I'll go. And she was serious and that helped me. I didn't like her at that time. So, well, I can't tell you exactly because it depends on the person. I always go with what is with the person. I would probably start telling the person, hey, um, people who tend to depression are very, very often sensitive people, which is not a bad thing. We may believe that our sensitivity is a curse, but actually it has big advantages. So I found out that sensitive people are very often higher evolved people. They have a bigger potential and a more important life purpose. That's why they have have to go through such dark times, because they need to grow strong and strong and stronger over time, because they have a higher purpose, life purpose. And so I would talk about that. Then I would probably start on the physical level. Tell the person, hey, sleep enough, be kind to yourself, listen to, be very, very careful what what kind of news you allow to get in, what kind of people you allow around you, because there can be very toxic people who can make you very, very depressive very, very quickly. So sometimes we have to say goodbye to some toxic people in our lives, because they're simply not good to us.
Oh, how beautiful.
And
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, guys, there are assholes out there, and there are people who
no doubt.
thrive on putting you down. They thrive. They don't, they are not able to go somewhere. And because they know they have reached their limit, they try to put you down. So it's
Yeah.
the tall poppy syndrome, we call it. So if you grow a little
Oh,
bit higher, people try to cut your head off, because they
exactly.
don't like that. So very
Yeah.
true. So yes, get rid of assholes.
Mhm.
And if you can't get rid of them, for example, in the workplace, I mean, I wrote in my book, I wrote a whole chapter on how do you deal with difficult people, because
Oh,
they
good.
are giving you huge amount of stress. So what do you
Mm.
do? And you know, if someone throws criticism at you, well, how do you deal with that? And so, yeah, so all that. So you're quite right. I love your approach to actually say, well, hang on, let's actually have a really good, I guess, step 4, we would say the 12-step program, have a real good inventory and actually have a look what's going on. Let's take
Mm.
your life, take it apart and break it down into some manageable categories. How is your sleep?
Mm.
How much do you drink? And with that, I mean alcohol, yeah. And if you no, far more importantly, water. What do you
Oh,
know?
yes.
Yeah, isn't that what?
Oh, yeah.
um,
Very
is
important.
well, I'm already want to jump into the things that we want to do. So, uh, are there are there? I guess we are there already. We might as well talk about those things that are so important. So
Yes.
you're already yearning
I'm
to
burning.
tell us what you
Mm.
want to do, and that's exactly what I want. So let's go.
Well,
Go on.
okay. Well, I can't tell you exactly what I would do with you or a person. I would have to talk to that person personally. I can't give you general guidelines, but I can share a few steps that I have found out to be very, very important, because I personally never went the route of medication.
Hmm.
And I for me, this was never the right path to go. So, because again, you lose control. Okay, one of the first things I would recommend is understand that depression is not a given. You may have a, how did you call it? Kind of a um, genetic uh,
Predisposition. That's right.
predisposition.
So
Thank you.
mommy and daddy
But
gave
that
you some.
doesn't mean that you are a victim to your genetics, because scientists have found out and proven that you can even change your DNA by leading a healthy, good lifestyle. So understand that as a first step. As a second step, stop resisting. Just give yourself time, give yourself the room that you need, because the more you resist, the harder your depression is going to be. Number 3, try to accept the message from life, which is not really very easy. Or sometimes it may not so easy. Um, the message from life that it's telling you that it might be time for a change, for a new direction, and that can be very interesting. And number 4, consciously, and that's a big one. And I'm sure you will agree with that. Consciously take responsibility for your current situation. Stop blaming others, because blaming others, I know for sure, is not the solution. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to make your depression go away. So blaming doesn't work. So take responsibility, or at least try to own it. I'm not talking about self-blame. Blame is never good, neither blaming others nor blaming yourself. Like you said, you wake up 4 o'clock in the morning and you start hitting yourself on the head because you did something 30 years ago. Blame, self-blame, any kind of blame is not the solution. And that's really not the sexiest step, but I think there is no way around. Then number 5, this is a big one, and this has changed so many lives of my clients. I love it. And it's daily practicing gratitude. Gratitude for what you have, gratitude for the person you are being. And now comes the big thing. Gratitude for your depression, because depression is your life teacher right now at this moment. When you are in the middle of a depression, this is your best friend, your best life teacher, because you're going to come out of this as a new person, as an evolved person, as a grown person, as a better person, if you allow the process to happen, if you don't stop it with stupid things. Number 6, and well, that's not an easy one either, but it has to be practice thought control. So let's take that example. You wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you start thinking. So how can you get out of that thinking thread? Because you're spinning, right? You're spinning and you can't get out, or you believe you can't get out, but you can. So just think about who is thinking. You're not being thinked or thought. You are thinking. So nobody else is thinking. You are thinking.
True.
So you are, sorry, I'm not you, Stefan, but me and you and everybody else, we are the ones who are thinking, and we are responsible for what we are thinking, and we can change that. And I always compare it with 2 trails, and you have to choose. You have to consciously choose. You can either choose the trail of thinking that leads into misery, or you can consciously choose the trail of positivity. And you can instantly, really within seconds, switch from one trail to the next. But you have to choose. And then you may shift back after a while and get back into your misery again. And then you say, hey, stop. That's not where I want to go. Okay, what can I be grateful for? And the question, what can I be grateful for, instantly gets you on the positive trail, on the positive track. So, and by the way, those of your listeners who know about the law of attraction, this is the law of attraction in action, because you always attract what you think and what you feel, whether you like it or not. It's a law. The universal laws don't care whether you like it or whether you believe it or not. Then
it is
number
true.
7.
I 100% agree. It is, and it is bizarre. If you would have told me that 7 years ago, I would have thought, yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. It is, you can choose how you will deal with that situation. You can choose if you want to go into that road rage. You can choose if you want to do the self-pity. And it is a very powerful position once you realize that, because you make that choice. There are times when I still let myself fly off the handle. I will say, you bloody beep, 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 in the car when someone really cuts me off or something like that. and I will accept it, and I will say, this is the old hothead coming out. And okay, I, that's me. End of the story. That's part of me. I don't like it, but from now and then I let him out to play. But many other times I actually say, well, he is a real asshole, but why did he do that? Because he is too tired, because he's completely distracted, because he has just heard that someone in his family is off sick and he needs to go home quickly, these kind of things. So it's about asking the questions and admitting to yourself that you have the power to choose. You are not
Yeah.
powerless. You are there.
Oh, yes. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
That's exact. You are not powerless. I am not powerless. We are not powerless because we are in the universe. Well, let's say in the physical world, we are the most powerful being. We are powerful. And can I quickly finish my
Of
with my
course. No,
list
please,
of
please, please, please. I'm just getting very excited there because I
yeah,
actually
me too.
recognize a lot of what you say in me, and all the
Interesting.
points, whilst some of the points I had not heard being described as such, when I think about them, they actually very much hold true to what I have experienced. So there's a bit of a humbling going on here when I'm reflecting on my
Sorry.
own. No, that's how we grow. That's how we grow. It's
That's
it.
true. That's
So
true.
no, please continue. Don't let me interrupt you.
Okay. Number 7, learn to control the energies that around you. Let me explain that. For example, you listen to the news or you read the newspaper and you read or hear something very sad, and then your mind goes and down goes your energy and down goes your mood. So when you allow things that are going on outside in the world, about COVID-19, it's a perfect time to learn to control the energies in our own lives. We don't have to get inundated with what's going on out there. Other people are choosing and creating their own miseries. That doesn't mean that I have to join them in their misery. Oh, by the way, another beautiful expression I've learned in English: misery loves company.
So true.
So don't be the company of somebody else's misery. And we can control energies, at least in our own home. Later, we can learn to expand that outside of our home, but within our home by beautiful music, really beautiful music. And hard rock is, those who love hard rock, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's not positive. It's not a positive energy. Classical music, beautiful music, that's what you need. Music that enhances your positive energy. Movies, film noir. I know there are so many people who are enjoying these movies. Bad for your energy. Really bad for your energy and for the quality of your sleep. So these things, or the images, the pictures and paintings that are hanging at your wall, how your apartment is furnished, all these things have energy, and energy surrounds you. And sometimes it's the bad energy in a house. I've had that in my last house. It was haunted. I had to do house exorcism before I could sleep. And sometimes the energy of a house is so bad that you simply have to leave. Very often. Oh, I forgot to tell that. When I mentioned that sensitivity, but when you are a person and when you suffer from depression, you are most likely a little bit more sensitive than the average person. And that means you have the ability, the questionable ability, to feel other people's negative emotions. And it took me almost all of my life to realize that many negative emotions are not even my own ones. So very, very often we take on other people's negativity, other people's negative emotions, and we begin to own it because we don't really realize what's going on, that people have been dumping and dumping and dumping on us.
So
And
true.
then we have to care, we have to deal with it. So learn to control the energies around you and learn to protect yourself from toxic people and toxic environments. That's most of the time something you probably can't do yourself. You may need somebody from an external person to really help you see what's going on. But you can learn to control your energies, especially in your own home. And then number 8 is a very beautiful step, and it's learn or take an ongoing effort to love. Love somebody or something. This can be an animal, a tree, a plant, a mountain, a person, or if you're really an advanced in loving, how about loving yourself?
That's beautiful.
I know it's mean for some people, and it took me centuries to learn to love myself.
It's
But
you,
love is really a big healer. Please go ahead.
every single person I talk to, every single beautiful guest I've got on my show, sooner or later, will say exactly that. That
Really?
they had to learn the hard way. Oh
Mm,
no, they had to learn many lessons, which ultimately allowed them finally to love themselves. And it doesn't matter if you talk eating disorders, it doesn't matter if you talk alcoholism, it doesn't matter if you talk depression, anxiety disorder.
mm,
It does not matter what I put in there. The hallmark of all these problems is the inability to love yourself, to have such a bad self-worth, to have such a bad outlook on yourself, and to give yourself absolute no chance, no room to make any mistakes, no nothing. It's just a very, very, very difficult thing to do, to look after
it is.
yourself, to love yourself. And that's so beautiful. It shouldn't be point 8 or 9. It should probably be way up there. But you need to go through all the others before you actually come to that point and
Yes,
actually
yes,
realize.
exactly. And one of it's really not easy. And we tend to believe that either we love somebody or something or we don't. But that's not true. Love can be trained. And what the beautiful thing about that is, it begins with gratitude. That's why I put gratitude way up there. If you have gratitude for a person, you will suddenly realize, hey, I love that person much, much more. Or if you have gratitude for the tree or the mountain that is outside of your window, you suddenly love that tree so much or that mountain so much that it fills your whole heart. So loving can be trained and learned, and it takes a constant effort, a daily effort, and it takes a conscious decision
So
to
true.
love. It's not either you love or you don't love, and the more you love, the less depression has room in your life. It goes away like the fog in the sun. It just can't stand a chance. The more you laugh, the less depression can stand a chance.
And
And last but not least, serve. As soon as you find a way to serve life, you take your concentration away from yourself. And I'm not saying that you should put others higher than yourself. That's not healthy either. But don't take yourself too seriously and forget others who need what you have to give, because you have so much to give. it's unbelievable how much each of us has to give, how much your listeners have to give. It's tremendous, tremendous potential. And by serving, by giving, you get a little bit more humble. You know that you are great. You're a very humble man, and I admire that in you, Stefan. You get a little bit more humble. You complain a little bit less about your own life. You learn to appreciate a little more your own life and your own situation, and so on and so forth. So I think that's a good way to
It
deal
is a
with
very,
depression.
oh, please, it is a beautiful, beautiful approach. And essentially, every single step that you have outlined is actually very well proven out there. Sometimes in the English language, it's called a little bit different.
Mhm.
For example, to work on your love and to train yourself to love someone. There is the equivalent, might be the emotional bank account. So you can't always go to the bank account and only take money out. You can't just always take, take, take. If you don't actually put something in, if you actually don't add something, very quickly your money has run out. And it's the same in a relationship. You can't just take, take, take. You
Mhm.
need to give. And the same you can then extrapolate to yourself, to the self-love. If you
Mhm.
don't give yourself some love, if you don't look after yourself, very soon there is nothing left to take out. There is
Mhm.
you're down and out. Your mood is down and out,
Yeah.
or your energy levels are down and out. So it's so beautiful what you've said, and you put it in very simple words, without big catchphrases that maybe other life coaches and instructors would use, and that is actually really beautiful.
I know.
You use a very simple language that is very easy to be understood. So
Why
that
make
is
it complicated? Why? I mean,
hey, I'm a doctor. We
yeah.
use big words to
Oh,
confuse our
sorry.
patients.
Sorry.
We practice these long words. Okay,
Oh.
come on, give me a chance. You're so right. You are so right, honestly. And it is beautiful. Sometimes we need to break it down to the simple concepts and the simple steps in life and the
It's not
gratitude.
nothing complicated. It's
Mm,
nothing complicated.
mm. And because it's not so complicated, therefore it's so difficult. Because
Yes.
essentially everything you said is common sense, but you can't see it when you're depressed. You can't see it when your mood is down because you're stuck in that morass,
Mhm.
in that mud of toxic thoughts and dark thoughts and self-blame and shame and guilt and all that.
Oh, goodness, yes.
Yeah. And that's where it is so important. If you find yourself like that, and if you find yourself unhappy, that's where people like Maja are so important, to actually say hello and make that call. And just don't be shy. Just pick up the bloody phone or write an email or send a message. Nowadays it is so easy, and
Mhm.
we are way beyond the, oh my God, this person is not living in my town or even in my suburb. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter
From
if
your
that
country.
person, yeah, well, exactly. It does not matter. It does not matter because I've had, over the recent weeks, I've made so many beautiful connections by simply finding someone on the internet in a Facebook group somewhere and find this person and realize that they have got similar interests to me. And I simply sent a message and said, look, that's me and that's you, the way I see it. And should we talk together as an interview? And it is so beautiful. It is so beautiful. My first few times, I was quite nervous. I didn't really know what to do. And is that okay that I just approach someone? And nowadays, my inhibitions have gone completely because I see how beautiful my life has become in the last month, because I've started talking to these wonderful people out there who have got so much to offer. So therefore, it doesn't matter if Maya is in Switzerland and you happen to be in
Mm.
Las Vegas or in Canada or South Africa. Doesn't matter whatsoever. Figure out what are the time zones, figure out when is a time convenient, and make that call. Because if Maya's words and her philosophy has rung a bell with you, well, what stops you? What possibly could stop you to have a chat and maybe explore a path together, a journey together? And
I love that.
but
Mm.
I loved what you said. This is not a quick fix. For a good
No.
time, call Maya, and within 10 minutes, your depression is gone. Yeah. And if you believe me, I'll sell you a life insurance as well. No, 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 that doesn't work like that. So,
No, but there is still a distinction I would like to make, if you allow, Stefan.
yeah, yeah.
I'm, for a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. Um, I'm a coach, and I don't do psychotherapy or what's the word? Anyway, forget it. I don't do the kind of therapy that goes on and on and on, and then you get into 10 years and 15 years, and you talk and you enjoy the talking, and then after 15 years you think, what has changed? I understand my problem now perfectly well, but did that really change something? There is no quick fix, no. But I don't believe in therapies that last 10 years either. Um, Things have to work a little bit faster nowadays, although you can't force things, but there are methods that help people. I'm a transformation coach. I like to transform things, and transformation can happen quite quickly. It all depends on you and how much resistance you have, or how well you cooperate and collaborate and let go, and are willing to get into that path. So it can be quite fast, doesn't have to be years, but you have to give it time. Somebody needs a year, another person needs 5 years, another person needs 2 months.
Mm.
So you never know in advance.
That's very true. That's very, very true. And you can imagine it with becoming fit in your body. Uh, let's say you're weighing 130 kilogram, you haven't moved a muscle. You don't just go once to the gym and expect to
Right.
somehow be the perfect body. No, you expect that this journey will
The six
last
pack.
6 months. Yeah, that's right. No, I've got one pack, a very big one. Yeah. So no, that's the reality. So you would expect a 6 month, 12 month journey for you to become a fitter
Right.
person. And it's the
Yeah.
same that you have to accept with your stinking thinking up there. It needs time to
Yeah.
change.
You
And
have to be realistic.
correct. And
Yeah.
that's what applies to every coach that you will ever enroll with. Don't expect the quick fix. Nowadays, our younger
Mm.
generation expect it immediately. When I told my
Terrible.
when I told my
Terrible.
sons that my interviews will be an hour or so, they told me, no way,
What?
no way, no way, no way. I will never
Mhm.
watch that. Anything longer than 8 minutes is an absolute waste of my time. And I thought, yeah, exactly. Sorry. So let me change your
Well,
life in 8 minutes. Right. How does that work for you? But it is this kind of instant gratification that
yes.
has become more and more the norm. And that is what
That's depressive.
very good. So yes, it is. Yeah, it is. And you want instant gratification. Well, what would do that? Oh, you pop a tablet of speed. Methamphetamine, instant
Good
energy.
luck. Good luck with that.
Mummies, you can go. You can clean the kitchen, cook the dinner, juggle the kids, juggle the husband, do another speed, and on you go. And then wash it down with a bit of red wine or 2 bottles or so. You know, that's the instant gratification.
Yeah, terrible
How
development.
long that works, okay? And that's
Mhm.
the problem. We see that more and more. I've talked
Take a pill and then you're happy for the next 5 hours.
yeah. And don't get us wrong, please don't get us wrong. There is very much an important role for medications. For many, many patients, they can be life-saving and they are absolutely good. And hands on my heart, I am on a medication that helps my mood and helps my anger and etc. And that is a really beautiful thing. But that alone will not get you anywhere. It
No.
is, if you just take the tablets, that's sometimes just a band-aid. That's
Yeah, you still
just,
have to go through the process,
well,
it's
unfortunately, yes, guys. Yes, there is some work to be done. You can't just tomorrow decide, okay, I'm going to be sober. I will not do any 12 steps. I will not do smart recovery. I will do nothing, but I'm going to be sober now. Yeah. It's the same with depression.
yeah,
It's the same with anxiety. No. Does that mean that you will forever be depressed or drunk or addicted? No, no.
probably
There
not.
are there are proven ways out of these situations, including there are proven ways to help you prevent depression, manage depression, and get out the other side. And
Mhm.
the philosophical approach that Maya is offering here and is teaching you is very powerful. She has condensed it
Oh,
into these
yes.
10 steps. And I didn't realize, I was looking you up a bit and reading up on you, and then you have got 10,000 plus people that you have coached over a number of years, many years that
Most
is.
in groups.
Yeah.
Most in groups.
Right. And
Mhm.
and you've got the folders of thank you letters there to prove it, which is beautiful, beautiful. So you've been around the block a few times, but more
Mhm.
importantly, you have been there in those dark places. And that
Yeah,
makes you such a powerful
I'm an
teacher.
expert.
Yeah. And that's why I would always seek someone like you out, because I know you've been there. I it's so easy to listen to people, and within a short period of time you realize you're bullshitting. You read it in a book or something like that, but you have no idea what you're really talking about. And so you
Oh,
that
yeah.
is there are some
I hate these skinny weight loss coaches.
mm,
That's
y-
so phony. It's so
so true.
not honest. So not. Oh.
So true, so true.
No, I
So
believe that you have to walk the same path the people you want to help.
mm, mm,
How else are you supposed to understand what they are going through? Stefan, I would be a bad coach for people who are addicted to alcohol,
mm,
but you are the perfect person for that because you know exactly how they feel, you know exactly where they are going through.
mm,
You have the heart where their heart is and where
mm,
their mind is, and you know exactly what it took you to get out of there.
mm.
So in my opinion, you are the perfect coach for
Thank you.
that.
And whilst I do not do face-to-face coaching, I still want to change lives. I still do exactly these interviews here to show people out there how beautiful this life can be. That even in your darkest moment,
Mm,
you're being tested essentially.
yes,
And this,
exactly.
whilst I'm not religious at all, so I will not say God is testing you, but something is testing you out there. Something there is a reason. Whoever has made that choice or whoever puts you into the situation.
Maybe it's
If
yourself deep inside you.
okay, touche, touche. So
Oh, so-
no, however you, no, it's a good point, good point. I wasn't thinking about that, but I had to think for a moment there. I think realistically, you are in that situation and you can choose either to give up or you can choose to dust yourself off and get up and face the new challenge. The new challenge in this case is your mood is low, you're waking up in the middle of the night, you're angry, you're down and out. Okay, so this is what has happened. Okay, don't just put the head in the sand like an ostrich. No, just accept it and deal with it. And
Deal with
but
it.
that's right. You don't, and that might sound corny, but we have been there. We have been. Maja has been there. I've been there, and many, 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 many others out there. It is amazing. Once you are in a club. I like shooting, so I'm together with a lot of men. And if I sort of have quiet words with them, it is amazing how many people have been depressed, have suffered actually quite severe
Mm.
depressions, have been down and out, and had some really low moments in their life. Yet they have pulled out, and they are very different men now, stronger men,
Mhm.
all of them. And it is what it is. So
Yeah.
there is something waiting for you guys. So go out there,
Mm.
find ways how to get to that, to the new
It's
you,
worth to find out.
absolutely, absolutely. But you need some help there. That is no doubt, and start with your family doctor, and then with a psychologist, a coach like Maja, whatever your choice is, whatever your belief system allows you to, or whatever is possible to for you. For example, if you actually have some really good resources at the doorstep, well, you would be stupid not to take them. But if you are maybe in a small town and there is no good resource, well, that's fine. Why not give Maja or someone like her a message and start a relationship, a therapeutic relationship with her, just listening to you, and then maybe developing a kind of unique plan for you that fits for you with some simple steps that can get you quite massively forward.
Mm.
So if they want to get hold of you, so we're going to put all your links down there. So guys, look down there in the description of the podcast and of the YouTube episode. But tell us, what is the easiest way for them to get hold of you or approach you?
Well, right now there is actually just one way to get a hold on me, and this is I'm for your audience only, exclusively. I offer free one-on-one 1 hour coaching sessions.
Wow.
And just to find out where you are and where you want to go, and how we can build that bridge between now and your goal, what we can do together or you alone. Um, that's what these free sessions are for. And you can go to, this is a long link, to calendly.com / the number 4 PFP / from depressed to free one-on-one coaching session. And from depressed to free one-on-one coaching session always has a dash between each word, but you can see the link below, like Stefan said. So
So
there
guys,
you
right now
can.
there's a test. Come on, repeat it to me, you guys out there. No, no, just look down there. It's written down there. Don't be silly. Come on. So just press the link down there. Check Maja's place out, and that's much, much easier. So don't get
Yeah,
too upset.
you can schedule a free session right on that website.
Oh, that's
You can
beautiful.
choose your
That's
best
beautiful.
time, and
Exactly. Oh,
then we
Maja.
get together on Zoom or on Skype or
Yeah,
on the telephone. And
yeah.
I'm really
And,
not far away from
yeah,
you.
exactly. And may I just say, right now, this was probably one of the best interviews I have had with guests in recent weeks. We have had such a beautiful audio. There was no flickering, fluttering, whatever ring. It was just the most beautiful connection. It was like I talked to you through a window. You're just out there, and it
Mhm.
is it is beautiful. So therefore, this is a classic sign. I'm in New Zealand, and Maja is in Switzerland, and we have got about 11 hours time difference. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
can have such beautiful connections nowadays.
You
So
can't use it as an excuse.
that's absolutely. So true. So guys, be careful, because when you get in touch with Maja, A, your life will change. B,
Yeah.
she will teach you that it's actually, you have to do some work. So if you
Mhm.
want quick fix, probably don't give her a ring.
No.
It probably doesn't want to work.
And if you want to work 10 years on that,
no,
I'm
you
not
don't.
the right person either.
Maja, it was so gorgeous to have you on my show. I'm so grateful for you to share all your insight and your experience, and it shines through that all this experience has beautifully crystallized into these various steps that you have outlined. And that's actually really, really lovely. So if all of you out there who feel down and out, if you go away with one thing, then the fact that there are steps that are specifically designed to help you. And how beautiful is that? How beautiful is that piece of knowledge? Just take that there is hope. It's not all lost. There is hope. And there is a very true expectation by people like me and Maja that virtually everyone can be helped. Okay? This is not a sentence, a life sentence of misery. No.
No, you're not a victim. You're
No,
not a victim. You're so
exactly.
strong.
So go out there, all of you, have a fantastic time, and don't put your head in the sand. Figure out what doesn't work and ditch the stuff that doesn't work, and find teachers and mentors and leaders such as Maja to make your life a better life, because you've deserved it. Maja, thank you so much for being here. I wish you all a fantastic time. Speak to you soon. Bye.